get started.
I'm
All right.
mixing Chris.
All right, the order isn't the same for everybody, because you're on the end for me.
We'll
All
shift
right,
to
so
order
we're
next.
So
live,
we
right?
got our we're live. We got our new camera set up here.
Woo!
All right, so we're using a different program for our video feed here because Roll20 sadly has not been cooperative. I hope they get that fixed at some point. But yeah, we're on session 15, right, guys?
15, yeah.
15.
Believe so.
On our last session, you all ended up leaving the town of Alaki and heading east across the Svalich Road with very little resistance to almost anything. When you got to the southeasternmost part of Lake Zarovich, you tracking Izek Strasny's footsteps, found that he had taken respite, a brief respite, over near the lake. You also discovered a boat kind of somewhere in the middle of Lake Zarovich, but did not make any connection as to Izek Strasny sailing out there. Astropi's natural 20 on a survival check, I think it was, to track him, discovered that he had camped there, presumably with Lydia, and then traveled further east up the Balanok Mountains back to the old windmill, which the players discovered later on. It was called the old bone grinder, which unfortunately and sadly they also discovered, having met a Morgantha, a woman at the door who was selling something called meat pastries. The meat pastries, the
Dream
dream
pastries.
pastries that were made of children. She had been selling them to the citizens of Barovia for who knows how long. You discovered that a woman in the village of Barovia exchanged her child for some dream pastries, and her child was locked up in a cage on the second floor of the windmill. And this was, of course, long after you had a spat with Izek Strasny and then put Morgantha's daughters to the blade by cutting them down in her house. She fled in her night hag form into an ethereal mist, or not an ethereal mist. She just became ethereal and fled. Of which she taunted Howland, who looked at her with a straight face as he cut down one of her daughters and taunted her. So that might not bode well for him in the future. Just throwing that out there. You also discovered that Lydia Petrovna Volakovich was in Izek Strahd's or Izek Strasny's I guess you could say temporary custody. He was attempting to protect her, which I guess technically he did since he took her out of Valaki. And then Ismark discovered that Izek had known about this little thing that the hags, this operation, had known about it for so long, and it was going on with his knowledge, and decided to pass his own judgment against, or asked Lydia if he could pass judgment against one of her villagers, and she said yes. And he cut off his arm, dictating that Izek Strasny Izek is no more, and he will stand a new man by being sent to the village of Kresk to herald any pilgrims there at the Shrine of the White Sun. He would have no family, he would have no land, and have no title. By which there was zero opposition from the party. It seemed like everyone was pretty much down with that when that happened. Yeah, you guys know that Ismark took off to the village of Barovia, where he has to do some very deep personal digging and fixing of his own village before he can continue. Having had that little encounter with the guard who spat at his boot for being out of the village of Barovia for so long, considering his father had died and there was no burgomaster there. So you folks are all standing outside with Lydia and Izek and a child. Or was it two children? It was two children, right? It was two kids?
Yep.
Yeah, two kids outside of the old one. I think we cut it off like right when Ismark left, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the windmill also went up in flames.
It did. That's
Yep,
right.
we burned it down.
Burned it.
Ismark's,
Burned it down.
Air
Ismark
burned
cut
it down.
off Izek's arm and it like burst into flames and caught the windmill on fire. And then Ismark
was-
just like walked away without looking back like a badass.
It was all pretty epic.
So good.
Well, shit.
Gotta make some decisions now, boys.
Mm-hmm.
What time is it? What time of day is it?
You guys left in the morning. Not in the morning, but you had sat with. You left around noon. We'll say it's about midday. Because that earlier our last session before last week's 2 weeks ago, you guys had spent most of your time between the blacksmith and Blinsky's toys, and a little bit of time at the Mardikov's inn, but that was just kind of the beginning for breakfast. And you had left around noon, and our last session was leaving Vallaki to the old windmill, and now it's about midday roughly, just from the travel alone. The whole old windmill encounter, including talking with Morgantha and everything, probably took less than 30 minutes.
All right. First thing, Helen says to the group, "Has Ismark already left?" I think he just he left.
Ismark's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he says to the group, "When I was up at the top of the windmill, I was looking around before it all came down, and I saw something to the north that looked kind of familiar, and I thought that maybe we should go look at it. I think Jim might be most interested.
The
It
stones
looks like
are
some
quite intriguing.
stones. Kind of like the stones we saw at Yesterhill.
I would agree.
So I think we should go over there first.
We've got children and Lydia with us. Do you think it's safe to go exploring?
If you want to stay here with them, that's fine. I think it will be okay, but you can use your best judgment.
Whatever we do, we should go together, but...
Jim?
We should prioritize keeping the people safe. It could be dangerous. Wouldn't want to run into any more corrupt druids.
Well, I'll leave it up to you then. It seems like this is your kind of thing. These druid ruins.
It's true. Let's see. Can we make any determinations about the ruins from where we're standing?
From a distance?
Yeah.
Give me a perception check.
How far away were they?
I think they're about 100 feet or so.
Yeah.
It weren't that far.
Is that what I had said last time? Yeah, they're not too far away.
Oh, that's like super close.
Yeah. Scroll down here. 20 perception. Nice.
Yeah.
You see So you see these four stones that are near the windmill, maybe roughly 100, 150 feet away. From a distance, they look covered in moss, and you can see kind of some kind of intricate details carved onto the surfaces. it still is very far away, so you wouldn't be able to tell what it is without getting closer. Um, the it looks like you can see some dead flowers near one of the stones.
Is this like beyond trees, or is this like we can see clearly there?
You can see through a handful of trees. It's a little downhill, sparse trees in your way, and then 100 feet down, it stops at another. It's like a separate but lower hill. The stones look to be about 10 to 15 feet tall, and they're massive, massive stones. You couldn't. I mean, you'd have to spread both of your arms out wide, and you wouldn't be like around half of it. They're huge stones. You see like a couple ravens flying overhead above it.
If you want to check it out, I can wait here with the kids and Lydia, and if anything kicks off, they're well within my range.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah,
I'll go with
Jim.
Jim then.
I'll go with
Yeah.
Jim too.
Jim says, "All right, settled then. Let us
Okay.
inspect the ruins further."
All right, you approach these these four massive constructs, these pillars, stone pillars. They look like they're made of stone. As you approach, you can identify them as stone.
Okay.
And each of them are moss covered. They look to be seasonal. You look at one and you can immediately identify it as a city of winter of sorts, right? It looks like it's shown covered in snow. The city, a city of sorts of spring, is covered in an array of leaves and flowers. The city of summer, it looks like it has a sunburst overhead, and the city of autumn is covered with leaves. That's on the surface of these. You get like the moss kind of haphazardly covered, and if you move your hand and try to scratch it away or carve it away, you can reveal this beautiful, intricate, like filigree design on the stone that looks like it's a little bit windswept, like as if these are ancient structures.
Okay. Can I tell any historical information, or is there any druid writing?
You don't see any druid writing, nothing that immediately reveals its historical pertinence. You can attempt to give me a really amazing history check, and I can tell you more about it.
Well,
You've done this before.
let's give it a shot.
Oh,
You can assume that this is a structure that has probably predated most of generational Barovians that have existed here. As far as you could tell, the stone may or may not have been erected around the time that Strahd was here, or maybe even before his time.
All right. Jim just notes to the party that the stones are ancient.
Does the
Possibly
city-
more ancient than the Lord, the Dark Lord?
does the city look anything like the city that we saw in the vision to the west of Yesterhill?
The Summer City. Oh my God, the
Ooh.
Summer City does.
Helen
city-
points this out.
With the sunburst
people.
overhead. The city with the sunburst overhead looks like
He's like looking at it, and it's like, whoa, oh. And Howland turns around and says, "Do you remember at Yesterhill, the city that Strahd was looking at? Could this be it?"
Jim says it very, very well could be. It looks almost unmistakable.
Astrapi, as they're kind of inspecting this stone to your right, where the autumn stone is, at the very bottom in front of it, you now notice there's a small little stone circle, and it has there's a small little bowl. It looks like there's these white, yellowish little pebbles in the bowl.
White, yellowish little pebbles, huh? I want to go take a knee and just sort of take a sniff at the bowl.
The sniff, it smells pretty bad, and these little pebbles, they look to be teeth that belonged to human children.
Ugh.
Hmm.
You see some steps now leading up to the windmill in a very similar way to the lurch that Morgantha the hag had when she walked.
Hmm. Yeah, so she's been bringing teeth down here and making an offering. Uh, do I notice anything else about the other stones at all, or?
No, other stones don't look to be desiccated in the similar route.
Uh, Jim is attempting to use, just some druid craft to try to bring some vibrance to the plants nearby.
Okay.
It's pretty much, bam.
All right, what are you doing?
Just basically just trying to instantly blossom a couple seeds or flowers if I can. Just try to bring a little life back.
You do so. The flowers in front of the spring stone bloom gently.
Maybe without the influence of those of that coven, this place will return to something even approaching prettiness.
Cheers to that.
Strappy picks up the bowl, the offering bowl. Takes it away out of the grove. Finds just a clearing somewhere nearby, near a tree or something, and kind of digs just with her claws in her hand. Just digs out like a hole, and kind of dumps all the teeth in there, covers it over, sprinkles a little bit of holy water on it, and says a little prayer, and just kind of throws the bowl aside. Then returns to the group.
You hear the faint whispers of Rosavalda and Thornbolt. You can't make out what they're saying, but you just kind of hear the essence of their spirit around you. It kind of makes you recall the time that that they were with you at the Shrine of the White Sun. If you remember that, how they were
Yeah,
standing and looking in
I
the
remember.
reflection.
Yeah, I remember they appeared in
Yeah.
the shrine, in the pool.
All right. Well, if we can't really determine anything else about this, I'd say we should remember this location
Sure.
for further use.
That's a good idea.
Perhaps when we've attained more of the relics, we can return here.
Yeah, do I take one more long look at each stone and just see if there's any discernible difference between them, aside from what's on them?
Give me a perception check.
Can I attempt to aid and give Astrapi advantage?
I'll say with your 20, I'll give Astrapi advantage. Actually, I'll say you see this too now that you like kind of double take. You're noticing.
21.
Nice. You're noticing that Astrapi is kind of taking a very hard look around, and you are too. And you notice that underneath the autumn stone, the dirt looks a bit more darker and pitched. Jim, with your history check, you seem to recall a wicked archfey named Kythlin of the Crooked Teeth, which is what you can presume that these hags have been making an offering to with these children's teeth. The stone, you can identify it immediately. Jim, as well as you, Astrapi, through your history and knowledge of religious sanctification. The stone is completely desiccated.
I'm sorry, the autumn stone is desiccated.
The autumn stone and the ground is desiccated around it.
Strapi says, Jim, the coven has desiccated the earth here with their foul rituals. Is there anything you can do to heal the land here? I'll aid in any way I can with divine powers.
Let's see here. It would take some time. However, it would be the same ritual I had used before at the vineyard. And it would take several hours.
It's time we don't have right now, I fear.
I would agree.
Maybe we should come back later.
Aye. When we've uncovered more of these powerful relics, perhaps they will reveal more to our eyes.
Just like Alendara did at the previous circle. There might be something to that.
That being said, Jim just takes a long look at Elendar, just to make sure. No, there's no peeping or spiritual whispering happening back there.
No, back, you don't see anything.
Okay.
The Strapi feels the light sensation of two child hands kind of holding on to hers, even though she's not really reaching for it.
She looks down and just kind of opens her palm in a
And you feel a warm,
welcoming way.
A warm, ethereal sensation. And you're back on the road, although obviously you haven't moved yet. You reunite with Mir, and Lydia looks a little bit not concerned, but almost as if she's anticipating some word from you.
I just tell her, it's an ancient stone circle, and one of the stones is desiccated. We'll likely come back to heal this place later, but for now, our main concern is getting you and the children to safety.
She nods and says, "When we get to Araki, what do you have planned for me? What am I going to say? The Burgomaster's mansion was burned."
We think you'll be safe in the Blue Water Inn, in the care of the Martikovs, while we figure out how to reclaim the town for you.
The Martikovs, and they agreed. Her eyebrows are raised in the air, surprised.
They haven't yet.
They'll listen to us.
All right. She's a little taken aback by your confidence, but reassured at the same time.
The challenging part will be getting you back into Vallaki. The guards have been instructed not to let anyone in, and are almost certainly looking out for us in particular. And I just kind of turn and look to the party and look at Howland in particular and Mir, and just kind of, how do we want to get inside?
I think we should start heading back. We'll think of something on the way.
We can go up over the wall at sundown.
Yeah, we had heard that there's a period of time where there's a changing of the guards. We might be able to get in during that time.
We'd have to help the children up over the wall, and Lydia maybe as well. It'll take some climbing, but
Yeah,
we can try it.
we can do it.
It's probably our best bet.
I do have rope, if we need it.
I got a grappling hook.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, no, we don't anymore. Oh yeah, you do.
I got a grappling hook and a rope. And a
Suddenly-
battering ram. We can just knock a wall down.
Suddenly,
Uh-oh.
a lightning strike lances across the horizon to the east. Ka-ka, ka-ka. Thunder booms, and as your attention is drawn to Castle Ravenloft.
Well,
That's not
Spooky.
ominous at all.
that's not ominous at all. Do you have that invitation to Castle Ravenloft? But I think we need to figure out what's going on in Valaki first.
Yeah, I agree. Should we get
All right.
going?
We should
Let's go.
head out.
To Valaki.
Yep.
You make your way down the hill, down the steep slope of Balanok Mountains on the old Svalich Road. It doesn't take long before you get to the familiar Lake Zarovich. And from here, it also doesn't take long to get to Valaki. How far out do you guys want to be before you decide to cut into the woods north or south? Oh, no, north, right? He said northeast was the entrance, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
the northeast
Mhm.
side, I think, is where he said the hole would be.
How far away? Like, do you guys want to do 3 miles, 4 miles back? Like, what's your...
I don't think we need to even be that far back. I think we can just go. If I remember the Valaki map, there's like a wood outcropping a few hundred yards off the wall. We can wait a few hundred yards into the woods.
As long as we're far
like
enough
off to
out
the-
that the guards can't see us on the
Yeah,
road.
like where this compass rose is, so we can like deviate out of sight of the main gate
Mhm.
and then travel through the woods
Come in from
to
the
like
northeast.
around here.
I'll have to ask the Martikovs to reclaim the horses and cart. I'm sure that they would be able to do that pretty easily, but we can't.
Mm. So where are you
Oh,
guys leaving
yeah.
the horses?
That's a good call.
Jim walks over to the horses and just says, I listen up. Can I?
The horse says, yeah, what do you, yeah.
I
He
need
goes,
you.
he goes, we're going back to Valaki, right?
Oh yes, but we have to leave you here for the moment.
No, don't.
We'll be back soon.
It
I
neighs.
promise.
You really just gonna leave us out here?
Jim's like, calm down, and he produces some of the bread and feeds some to both of the horses and just says, "We'll be back soon. We'll not forget about you."
Roll persuasion.
Persuading the horses.
right now.
Do you see this whole dwarf looking up at these horses, like talking to them? One of them takes the food from your hand and says, "That was delicious, but we're gonna die out here if you leave us here."
So, I hate to interrupt this meeting or whatever on this video program we're using is going to die in a minute, so we're going to lose our cameras. So we might just have to go back to Roll20 for now. I didn't realize this is just a free trial we're using here,
Oh.
and it has a limit to how long the call can be. Apparently,
How much is it for like the program?
it's not good. The free meeting has ended. Let's see. See if I can make another one, maybe. I don't know. Oh God, to start the whole thing over again.
Well, it definitely is pretty awesome. That works better than like Roll20 and everything else that I've seen so far.
The quality is excellent, but I think it's pretty expensive, actually.
What's the ID? The
It
meeting
was,
ID.
Hold on. I'll put it into the chat here. To the D&D chat. Our horses are going to die if we leave them out here, though, for real.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mir's got a plan.
Oh,
mean, Helen can always just try to.
Disguise the horses.
I mean, I can persuade my way into stuff. Disguise the horses.
Uh,
Does it just give us more time or something? Is that why we're able to just get back in here?
I think it's just per meeting is the 30-minute limit or something. 40 minutes, yeah, 40 minutes meeting.
Oh, interesting.
So that'll buy us another 40 minutes. So at least there's.
Did it keep your spacing correct or no?
Oh hell no, it didn't. It's so fucked. It's just totally fucked now.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's all right. Oh,
I mean, we can roll 20 it and then
It
just
looks
try and
so
find a
good.
solution.
Yeah. So in the meantime, the
Yeah.
horses the horse takes the nutty oat dark bread from your palm, eats it, thanks you, and then says, you could just take us inside, please.
At this point,
So-
Jim has
We can't
transitioned.
hear any of this.
No, you
Yeah,
just see Jim like you just see Jim
He's
like standing like,
"Ooh."
Jim is like, yeah, like going back and forth between like muttering to himself in common and just like grunting and neighing at these horses.
So Mir says, I still have the Champagne du Lestan. I can just ride the horses in and say this is a special reserve delivery for the Blue Water Inn.
You're gonna ride both horses in for this?
I mean, like I don't have to say ride them, but I can like take them in, and that I assume will get me past the guard.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
They might be looking for you though. I mean, I can attempt to disguise you.
Yeah. At this point, I would say Jim looks over at Hallen and says, "Can you do anything about Mir's looks?"
I start rifling through my disguise kit. I'm saying, well, I'll see what I can do.
You're just throwing like pairs of novelty glasses over your
I
shoulder
don't know
and
how
like
this works. Okay.
I think disguise works against their passive perception, if I'm not mistaken. I forget.
Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna write that
So,
down.
I
22.
spend a little bit of time. I find some
Gonna-
stuff. I'm like looking down. I'm like, raise my eyebrows. All right, and I'm just, Mir's like gritting and bearing this. Like, obviously, doesn't really like this, but. And then I make her take out her mirror.
I look at my mirror.
So.
Looks pretty decent.
All right. Well, we'll see you at the Blue Water Inn.
I'll drop the horses off and then I'll scout out the northeast side from the inside, get us an escape route.
Think you can shoot us one of those ghost arrows, like the whistle arrows when the coast is clear?
Yeah, I can do that. Can also just throw the rope over.
And that'll work too.
It seems like that would be a bit more discreet than a whistling arrow flying through the woods.
could be.
All right. So I guess we wait until it starts. Oh, there's a changing of the guards. I forgot exactly when it was.
So Mir just takes the cart back towards the road, and then so we have a cart, right?
It's 2 horses
So
in a cart.
I think so.
Team.
I forgot if I gave you guys. I think I just gave you 2 horses, but I mean,
Yeah.
the cart is like.
I thought we were given a cart too from the Mardikovs.
I mean,
Yeah.
They took it back.
you guys had the cart when you were delivering
We
wine.
had 2 carts. They took one back, and I thought they gave us the other one.
Well, I mean, even if they didn't, we could say they did because it really. I mean, it's a cart. It's a cart. It doesn't really matter.
Well, anyways, I stash my bow like right behind me and kind of cover it up with, a cloak or a blanket or something.
Roll deception to hide it. Is it sleight of hand or deception to hide it? You have the deception, right? Deception would
I
be
mean,
to hide
I'm
something.
literally just like draping it over it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, it's. I want it within arm's reach. I just don't want them to necessarily see me rolling up with a bow and a quiver and stuff. So
Cool.
kind of got the quivers underneath my cloak and stuff. And then I just ride the cart up.
All right. While Mir is doing that, how far away do you guys cut into the woods and then move over?
Kind of just like skirting the edge, like where we think that it would be hard to see inside, right inside the tree line.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, you spot a guard in that tent or that pitched tower, you could say, kind of just observing the distance. The guard up here sitting down, not paying attention. The guard over here looks like he's smoking. The guard over here, just a still standing figure. And then it's a little difficult to see the guards up here and here. But you can see silhouettes that move a little bit.
Yeah, we'll just keep watching.
Now we just wait for sundown.
Everyone roll perception.
I got some of that.
You hear a deep giggle. Mir,
From what direction?
just from around you. You can't tell which direction it's coming from. Mir, you get to the gate. You have the two horses. One of the guards stops, or one of the guards puts his hand out, and it looks like a familiar guard that you've seen before. Says, halt. What business you have in Valaki? Where are you from, stranger? And it looks like the guard that was a little, am I using this word correctly? Incensed? Is that like a...
That means angry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was a little incensed at Ismark from before. He was watching the Sunset Gate when you all returned from Yesterhill. And he was the one you parted wine with.
So Miriam just says, I have a special reserve delivery for the Blue Water Inn.
Roll deception.
Why didn't we have Hallen do this?
I
Oh my
was just
God.
thinking that.
He could have wrote some kind of crazy ass letter.
Oh, that hurts.
Oh, he has literally no deception. Oh my God.
He narrows his eyelids, strengthens his hands on his pike, and says, "Do you take me for a fool?"
No, I take you for a man who knows his wine, and I reach into my bag and I pull out the Champagne du Lestat, and I show it to him, and I say, "The Wizard's Winery is delivering a small number of bottles to each town. If you're not interested, I can make a fair price."
Wait. Where are you from? You sound very familiar. I have met you before. You sound very familiar.
We've never met, my friend.
Have we? I'm pretty sure we have. He says, aren't you... No, it could not have been. Hold on, I need to roll investigation.
Oh my God, dude. This is the worst plan ever.
Okay, it doesn't beat the disguise kit. He goes, you sound very familiar, but you do not look like... You look almost exactly like that woman. Perhaps... No, it could not be. He shakes his head and says, I'm sorry. I cannot let you into Vallaki. You do not seem truthful person. If you want, I can deliver wine to Martikov for you, but I cannot let you in. Lady Wachter of Vallaki says no foreigners into Vallaki. You will have to find way around.
I see.
There is path not too far away from a range behind you. You take forest line south, you reach the camp of Vallaki, and then you continue going west. You'll be not allowed in here. You can hang out with those Vistani over there. And he kind of points to a camp very far in the west, and you see a little pitch of black from the smoke rising in the air.
Okay. So with that, I say, well, I can't allow the Champagne du Lestant out of my person, but you can deliver this Red Dragon Crush to the Blue Water Inn and leave these horses and cart there.
Horses and cart, too? What am I, an errand boy?
You said you're making the delivery for me.
Yeah, the wine. I didn't want to also handle horses.
You want to be carrying this around? I got a cart here to carry it for you.
What have you got? You got
You
something
work
for
hard,
me?
I work hard. I'm a delivery woman.
Do you got something for me? Perhaps something for this work. I have to leave my post. What if I get in trouble? You have something to compensate me?
The
How about this?
will make sure you drink well.
Who do I say sent me then? What is your name?
My name is Jenna Woodman.
Oh, he says, any connection to James Woodman?
Oh,
He says Jenna Woodman. That's a very strange name for a foreigner. All right, sure. All right, yes.
I leave the Red Dragon Crush in the cart.
All right. The gates open while you stand there. They're not afraid that you're gonna like leap in or run in.
I leave
The other guard, kind of comes down and coldly takes the reins and moves the horses forward into Vallaki. He, as you gather your things from the cart, he examines it real quick, and then sees that the Red Dragon Crush is here and says, "This is very small shipment."
This is the special reserve.
All right.
It's
All right.
vintage.
Fine.
As you may well know.
Sure. Anyways, good luck to you, yes? And the gates closing.
So I just proceed back down the road until I'm out of eye shot and then hook back into the woods.
All right.
Make my way towards the party.
It isn't too back to the other people, the other team here. Yeah, you hear a giggling.
Helen like perks up, tries to figure out where this is coming from,
Yeah, it's
Same with
looking
Jim.
around.
and I don't yell out, but I say like Zoldar.
And this big, massive hulk of a man drops down from the tree above and lands. He says, "Yes, it is I, Zoldar.
Oh, I knew it was you.
I've been trying to get back into Vallaki."
Yes, that's what we're trying to do.
Well, you have little time left now. It looks like they're going to be doing the switch here soon. You have maybe half an hour until it begins. And he kind of points to this house or this thing. I'm sorry, not that one. This one. As it's closer. Says, you have approximately 5 minutes to run across that field, climb and get over, and then hide before new guard takes post. And you have maybe half hour until it. You see the sun, and he points to like where a metric of light on the mountain, on like the palisades that surround Vallaki, and he says, as soon as the darkness reaches tip of tower, that's when you have time to move. I guess he's mentioning some kind of reflection in light where the shadows strike the top of the tower the darkest.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, Helen nods.
Anyways, me and Yevgeny, we're going back into Vallaki. We will see you at the Blue Water Inn, yes?
Aye, if we can, assuming that we make it.
You've gotten this far in Vallaki. It is not too much of a stretch to say you can sneak into the town. We will see you. And you hear like some kind of brush movement, and you look around and you can't spot Yevgeny, his brother. But you do hear the movement of brushes like in moving away from you guys. As if Yevgeny is hiding in the brush and trying not to be seen as he moves away. And Zoldar is just walking. Zoldar heads south, kind of beelining towards the gate. And you see him kind of disappear on the edge of the palisade. At this time, Miriam kind of comes up behind you guys.
So I tell Miriam, we have about 20 minutes. Are the horses safe?
Yeah, the guards are going to deliver them and a few bottles of wine to the Blue Water Inn.
All right, good. So we have about 20 minutes, and then we'll have to go across this field with the children and make sure everybody gets across. And he points towards this particular guardhouse right here. But start scanning for where you think a good crossing point would be.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just take a look and see which one looks best. Easiest to get over.
All right. I guess we'll just wait for the shadows to meet. Like you
Um,
said.
While that's going on, I think we should carry the kids as we
Oh yeah,
run across this.
I'm gonna carry those kids.
So I'm
All right.
At least
kind of looking at Jim and trying to size him up, and Miriam turns to Jim and says, Jim, my friend, on a scale of 1 to 20, how strong are you?
I'd say about a 12.
Okay.
There he
I'll,
is.
I'll carry the other
And he
child.
flexes.
About a 12.
All right, so I'll carry one of the children.
All right.
Yeah, I'll carry the other one. How tall is the wall? Can I tell?
15
from here?
feet.
It's 15 feet
Wow,
tall.
that's like nothing for a stroppy.
I mean, I'm like 7 feet tall. So
It might be a challenge for the kids and Izek, though.
yeah.
Izek?
Yeah.
We got Izek with
Oh,
us too.
yeah.
He's
that's
missing
right.
an arm.
His non-missing arm, though, I'm assuming he's pretty strong. If
He's swole.
we might be able to
Izek is
just
swole
haul
as
him up.
fuck.
Yeah, I will. If he could just grab on, we can haul him over the fence.
As you kind of say that plan with an earshot, he just nods a little, but he doesn't raise his eyes to meet any of you guys.
Yeah, I'll stand at the bottom and act as I'll be a platform. So I'll stand at the bottom and hold my shield up
Oh,
and
that'll
let
make it
people
easy.
climb up onto my back, and I'll kind of boost people since I'm the tallest.
Do you want to use a grappling hook to go over or no?
People, I mean, you should use that too, but it's just going to help people. They're going to be halfway up before they even have to start climbing a rope at that point.
So
So
a
for the-
grappling hook, if you were to use the grappling hook, it would make it so that nobody would have to make an athletics check to climb over.
Oh, yeah, I mean, figured we'd do both.
Yeah, I mean, I can also if I get up, I can put down another rope.
Yeah, that's perfect. Between that and shield boosting, you guys will like cut down the 5-minute timer to like maybe 60 seconds.
All right.
Yeah.
So
let's-
it's
let's
going to
do that.
Be over
decrease.
the wall, no problem.
Yeah, ideally it'll decrease that window of you guys getting caught by a guard or having to be like, oh, we just came around the corner.
We were taking a walk,
Right.
and
All right.
we're stepping
So
on
the
these
plan
shields.
is I'm gonna go up first. Well, we'll throw the grappling hook. Astropi will boost me, Helen, up as far as I can. I'll jump up. I'm pretty acrobatic. I can get up over the wall, probably no problem. And I'll throw down another rope. It should make it easier for people to come up too.
Sure. So
All
you
right,
guys,
we've got about 10 minutes here, I think.
Mhm.
We can do, because I'm just thinking, yeah, okay. Because I just was thinking that it might be easier to have me go up first, sit on top of the wall, and get past the kids and get them onto the rope.
Yeah, kids go up first.
Yeah, you guys can get up onto the wall and then help take the kids over. Maybe get another rope down the other side and help the kids down it, or
Yeah,
something.
I'll do that.
So my understanding is that Miriam's going to run out there, grappling hook, throw it up, right? Get a good feed on there, run up, and then Astropi will shield boost the children and Lydia and maybe even Izek up. Meanwhile, Howland runs and does an acrobatics check to climb up, and then throws another rope down for like Jim and maybe Lydia as well, or Astropi too. Is that kind of the idea that you guys
I mean,
are
I'm,
going
I'm
towards?
gonna
I think
get
it's-
boost.
His
I
rope,
want to get boosted up first.
his rope
Oh,
should go
okay.
over the other side.
Yeah, so we can use the rope to go down as well.
Oh, I see what you guys are saying. So you guys,
Yeah.
okay. All right. I was gonna say because, all right, yeah, that makes sense.
Miriam will throw the kids from the top of the wall. Or,
No.
They'll
saying, like,
bounce.
No. I'm saying you guys are gonna climb. I mean, you guys are gonna be able to climb down from the guard tower, right? Because you guys are climbing. You guys aren't gonna be
Oh.
climbing up over the palisade. You're gonna be climbing into the guard tower.
oh,
okay.
all right.
Yeah, we'll
I
do
did
that.
not know that. I thought we were just
Okay,
climbing.
yeah,
a
well,
really
then I
Oh,
can
my
throw
bad.
down-
part of the
And that
I
wall.
was-
can take the second rope and
Then
throw
that
it
was
down then.
that was my fault because I should have elaborated that when Zoldar told you guys about that, he would assume that you guys would have climbed in through the guard tower as opposed to over the actual spiked palisades.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we'll definitely
definitely-
do that then.
Okay.
I'll
Oh, this should be
I'll
easy
use my
peasy
second
then.
rope to just provide extra rope. It's easier
Sure.
to climb with 2 ropes. Maybe
seems
you can have
like-
more people come over at the same time.
It seems like the only thing we're gonna have to do is when the light gets down, you guys are running across at this point. Astropi might be running ahead of you at this point. She sets up in front of the wall, giving you a boost. So give me an acrobatics check with advantage as she shields up and thrusts you into the air. Just to get like you reach up with one hand and grab the top.
What the fuck?
Oh, you have
Oh,
advantage. You have advantage.
no.
Okay, yeah.
You have
He has
advantage. It's
advantage.
cool.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So you definitely hop over this railing and land. Miriam, the grappling hook comes in and hooks in, and all of you guys kind of.
I immediately tie this rope around the guard post pole that's inside of this little hut right here and
Yeah.
throw down the rope.
Jim, you get up as soon as the 2 kids are finished getting up. Lydia takes the one behind you. Astropi, you kind of help Izek up, then you're the last one up and over, and you guys kind of detach your ropes, and you are now in Vallaki. You can actually still see the backs of some of the guards that are moving further into town, and some of the newer ones heading towards you.
Let's get to the Blue Water Inn as soon as possible, and try not to run into any guards on the way.
Helen's gonna go
Which
make
of
a
these?
stealth check and go ahead.
Sure.
Just
Which
to
of
make
these,
sure that there's.
sorry.
I'm looking out for guards.
Which of these paths did we see guards walking down?
You saw 2 guards walking from the north path and the south path away, and you don't see a guard on the north path, but you see a guard on the south path who's walking towards you guys.
All
We
right,
should-
so
we
Helen's
should
going
take
to
the
go
north
out
path.
ahead on the north path.
Okay.
And just make sure that the party can see him, but he's being stealthy towards everybody else.
Sure.
Just kind of like leading the way. Doesn't want anybody.
He's
No,
inside a
it's there.
bucket.
He's like going from like a hay bale to hay bale.
So
He
when
actually
you-
has a cardboard box over.
When you, when you get to the point where you are now, you see. Give me 1 second here.
Metal Gear Howland.
Right.
Metal Gear. The halfling to surpass Metal Gear.
So you see from here,
The Wachter house.
kind of behind the house towards the palisade walls, You see a hooded man lift a slanted wooden cellar door. Looks like it has an iron pull ring and iron hinges that are kind of against the foundation of the house. Pull it open, step a couple in, and then close it behind them.
I'll make a note of that. And Howland does.
Yeah, it doesn't take too long before you guys get to the Blue Water Inn. Howland, when you get to the main road, you notice a couple of guards kind of leading a little bit up north, and then 2 or 3 more going further east, but none take that path that you guys are on. You maybe waited out for an additional 10 minutes. You notice there's no odd patrolling of guards or guards going from
Yeah,
A to
so I'll like motion to the group, come on, and we'll like, like fly casual. So now we're just like strolling out onto the road. We go to the rest of the way to the Blue Water Inn. It's not that far.
Lydia has a hood over her. Ismark is covering him, or Izek is covering himself. So you get into, or you get towards the Blue Water Inn. How are you guys wanting to enter? Do you want to go through the front door? Do you guys
We're
want to
gonna
hang
go
out
through
the
the. We're
back?
gonna go
Let's
through
in
the back.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
Man, I forgot to turn the music up this whole time.
Blasphemy.
I know.
I need a BRB.
Sure.
Should we just take like a quick 5?
Yeah, let's take 5.
Nice.
All right, we're back.
Oh shit.
Right. So you folks are all standing behind the Blue Water Inn. There is a behind the familiar stable. You hear the squawking of birds and the plaintive whinny of a horse, and you can kind of see over the edge of the stable. Let me remove these. You can kind of see into it.
Why are we on a map, Z?
I mean, honestly, I figured it's nice just to have it as a reference for people to know.
It's nice to look
Um,
at something other than the map.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
And then Z's like, and also roll initiative.
Yeah, that's when it'll be time to work.
Yeah, that's my
Right.
thing. Okay. Can we get in here?
Let's go on in.
You can't. It's locked. But you can see over it, and you can hear the plaintive whinny of a horse, and you hear crows squawking at the top of the loft in the storage.
Helen turns to Jim and just says, "Hey, think you can send a message, then let us in?"
And he calls up and he's just like, Polly, is that you up there?
But to us, we all hear.
Yeah.
You hear a voice saying, "Oh man, I'm hungry."
That ain't Polly.
And then you hear Polly's not here. What you need? And you see a raven hop out. It's out to you. What do you need? He like flies over down and lands on the point of the stable window.
He just says, we need to get in. We just need the Martikovs to know that we're here at the back door. The
Oh,
whole gang.
okay, all right, sure. Like flutters up. After a couple minutes, you see Brahm come out the side, and he motions you north of the establishment and into the what looks to be a kitchen.
All right.
Sweet.
Brahm says, "Wait here. I'll get my father." And it doesn't take too long before Erwin comes in and goes, "Oh, what, Lydia, Isaac?" He looks to all of you and then back. What's going on here? What seems to be the? How is Lydia in my inn? How did you get past the guards?
Helen just says, "Come on."
We handled it.
Oh, Lydia.
Strappy says, "Don't worry. No Barovians were harmed."
He takes a long look at Izek Strasny and kind of notices his odd behavior.
Also, the lack of a massive, ridiculous arm.
Yeah.
Jim also notes after hearing Hastropi say that, except for the decrepit witches.
Yes.
What do you mean, decrepit witches?
We had to stop a couple of crones who have
Sorry. Go ahead.
let us say had their fair share of filthy fingers and many a pie.
The old windmill is gone, burned to the ground, and its sins with it.
This is good news. And in a moment, the door is opened and Danica kind of and Erwin kind of pulls her in and closes the door behind her. And you hear him kind of explain what you guys kind of just gave him, and she's concerned and says, "We cannot. How is she going to stay here? What do you plan to do? Why we?" If Lady Wachter sees her here, or some of the Barovians, she is sure to get hung.
We think
And-
that we think that you should make sure that that doesn't happen.
And
We-
Izek. And she sees Izek, and she slaps him. Should be ashamed. He doesn't respond, though. He keeps his head down. Sorry, what did you say, Chris?
I'm just talking about how we don't think anybody should see her. We want to keep her hidden as possible until we can deal with the problem here.
Danica kind of looks to Erwin for a moment and says, "All right, she can have the children's room for a few nights, I suppose. Brown Bray, go clean your rooms." You hear them go, "Aww." They kind of collectively whine. She goes, "I don't want to hear any of it. Go on." And through a kind of a false wall, they open a false wall on the south wall of the room and move upstairs. A false wall kind of closes behind them. Erwin looks to you all and says, it is a safety precaution for my children. In case Strahd attacks, I want to make sure they are safe from him. It has worked so far.
But has Strahd ever attacked?
Not the Mortakov house directly, no, thankfully. I only imagine it will be time. It is said that most Borovians will meet Strahd one day. There is not a man that in Borovia that has lived his entire life without seeing Strahd. Unfortunately, or perhaps even fortunately, he has not seen me or my children or my wife. So
Well, Izek has his own path ahead of him. I don't think that he will be hindering anybody here. He will stay with the lady.
wait, what did you say? He'll stay with who?
He will stay with
With Lydia.
Lydia.
Oh, okay,
Lady
okay.
I
Lydia.
said the lady, but yeah.
Okay.
The Lydia.
The Lydia.
Erwin kind of looks around and says, "What do you plan to do now? Where will you go from here?"
That's
We
a
intend
good
to
question.
figure out who this Lady Wachter really is. And
She's Barovian. What do you mean who she really is?
we have reason to believe that she isn't who she says that she is. She serves Strahd and has very dark designs for this town.
Hmm. You see him kind of palm his beard for a moment. He says, "Lydia certainly has spoken kind of her Lord Strahd. Although, can you blame her?"
So, do we have that book that fell out of? We have
Yeah,
that
yeah.
book, right?
It's a little like a parchment.
So, Hallen just walks over and gives it to him.
He holds it and
He
he
just says, "What do you make of this?"
He grabs it and it looks like it has a little bit of dried mud on it from when it fell into the mud on the middle of the street. Kind of picks off a little bit of it at it, and he opens it and takes a moment to read.
And Helen just says, "Does this not speak of the Lady of Wachter?"
Dark Lady of Luck. He kind of looks. He looks over at Lydia for a moment and looks back at the book, and then just like kind of looks upwards and thinks about Lady Wachter for a moment, and says, I am not sure. Where did you get this? Where did you find this?
The skeletal rider that rides through town.
He says he looks at the name. He says Melnor Malabi. I have not heard of this foreigner. Oh,
He might have written about this person a very long time ago. But that would make sense if she was undead.
hmm.
Have you yourself ever received anything from the skeletal rider?
No, I have not.
I've seen many of the townspeople pick up things that this rider has left for them.
He has. I'm not sure. He's never left anything near my door or in front of my children or my wife Lydia. Then again, we've always been in the Martikov Inn, so I'm not.
Wait, is his wife's name Lydia also?
Sorry, no, his wife's name is Danica. My bad.
Okay.
I don't know why I said Lydia.
Just had to make sure we were.
Right.
Well, if you could do us this favor and keep them hidden while we figure out how to reinstate, we think we want to reinstate Lydia as the rightful ruler of this town.
It
We're
would
welcome
make
to input.
it would make sense. Lydia has. Lydia and Vargas have ruled Valaki for as long as I've known, but beyond the Baron's father. Lydia, you're from Kresk, are you not? And Lydia says, I am. Awesome. Well, if you would like to stay in Valaki and perhaps re-establish the royal bloodline to leadership, I do not think many Valakis would oppose, since it is not under the Baron Vargas's rule. It is Lydia's, which will, you would have to present it as a clean slate, not the same leadership as the Baron, but Lydia will have to prove it. Perhaps then I think she could reassert control over Valaki. But if it is much like how the Baron ran things, we will see a repeat in their behavior.
Strappy just looks towards Lydia and just says, I don't think it'll be anything like the Baron's rule.
She shakes her head, agreeing with you.
So it seems that we have two options. One is to expose Lady Wachter to the people of Valaki as what she truly is, so that we may remove her and present Lydia as a replacement. Another option is to have Lydia prove herself as the rightful and reformed heir, and see if we can convince the people of Valaki to unseat Lady Wachter on their own.
Lydia looks concerned and says, "How do? What should I do? I've never been in a position to lead. You will have to tell me what." She looks kind of down in a little in frustration.
Helen looks to her and says, "Look, when you're a leader, you will have to rely on the counsel of others to form your judgments and your decisions. But you have to be confident in those. They come from you. You will have to make some decisions on your own, according to your conscience and your best instincts. Do you think that you'll be able to do that?"
Yes. The villagers, the town of Valaki and its people are of my interest. Making sure that the women are taken care of and the children. as well as the men, of course. I've never ruled. I've only ever sat in Vargas's shadow. I could certainly try.
Astrapi says, "You'll not truly be alone. We've met many, many great and strong Barovians here in Vallaki. Your brother is among them, and the Mardikovs, of course. I think with them as your counsel, you'll do just fine." I turn back to the group and just say, how do we proceed?
So at this point, Howland tells he kind of like motions people to like gather around and says, "On the way here, I saw a familiar face going into a part of the Voctor house that I didn't know of before. Looks like some kind of basement or cellar. There might be something in there that would allow us to show this Lady Voctor, or show the people who this Lady Voctor really is."
Does the Lady Walker make public appearances?
Erwin says, yes, she has town meeting going on in 2 days to talk about what to do with Vallaki now that the Baron is gone.
What if we just discreetly show up to this town meeting and see if we can see her in the mirror?
How will
Ooh.
you? He looks back at the letter for a second, looks back at you, and says, "If this person here was deceived, how you know you will not also be deceived? She is a wizard, as you say she is."
The person who wrote that letter wasn't deceived. They saw what was happening.
And Jim kind of looks toward him and says, "We have ways of seeing through illusions."
There is that, but this mirror, the mirror that Mirror has, and I motion for Mirror to take it out. And
Now-
I take it and I hold it in my hand. And I tell Erwin, Mirror used this mirror to set Strahd's hand on fire.
He reaches forward to grab it.
Mirror
let
just
him
says,
look
"Whoa,
at
whoa,
it.
whoa, whoa, careful, careful."
He grabs the mirror and kind of smudges his thumb over the surface and flips it over, and he looks at you and says, "It is a simple mirror."
That's all it takes. The thing is that we know that this is not an illusion. We've used it to hurt Strahd before. We know that if we cannot see her reflection in this mirror, then she is who we suspect that she is.
How do you know she will not? I'm not sure. Assuming she is as you say she is, how will you know she will not hurt Barovians if you catch her surprised?
She'll be dealing with far greater problems than Barovians, I can assure you.
I certainly hope so. We could not use. We could use less Barovians dying in Vallaki.
Oh, have other Barovians died?
He kind of mentions the attack on the Church of Strahd and just overall with he kind of motions and looks to Izek and says when Vargas was in power, Izek expressed his rule a little too aggressive, you could say. It perhaps is a decent change that he is not a captain of the guard anymore.
We don't want anybody to get hurt.
Yeah, Jim says, I have an idea for
Hmm?
who would be a fine captain of the guard.
Who do you think?
Uh, a man we met here before by the name of Radovand.
Radovan. Yes, I think I've seen him. The Radovan Horngard, yes? He's,
Yes.
He's
his,
proved himself with us a number of times.
his great-great-grandfather was a good man.
Oh, says Jim.
Yes. His Horngard family. They used to, they used to be... He has Dragon Knight in his blood.
Dragon Knight.
Yes, you've heard of the Arkenfast Hope, yes?
We have indeed.
Yes.
We intend to
He's-
go there.
Soon.
Yes. Radovan's father had the had uh, this 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 way with weapons and shields, and it seems it has been passed down to his son Radovan. He is a Horngard, and his family used to live and generation and generation in service of Argenfasthold. But you know, this is all story passed down from generation. I'm not sure how accurate it is.
Hmm.
But perhaps if it is true, and he's as good man as you say he is, you know, he could be perfect god for Bulaki.
Well, he lives in Kresk for now, but I'm certain that his heart is here. This is where he grew up. This is the town that he protected for so many years.
Indeed, he was only man of 16 when he joined guard. This was impressive. Youngest man ever.
And I have no doubt he would die in service of Valaki.
Yes, that's what most Barovians.
Hmm.
Danica takes her leave as she's hearing some commotion in the bar, and once she gets out there, a couple of the Barovians are asking for drinks and so forth. It's been a while since she's been there. Izek and Lydia are going to retreat as they're both a little tired because it's getting late in the evening.
Before Lydia leaves, Jim wants to have a quick aside and ask her what she knows of the monastery in Kresk.
The monastery in Crest, yes, my grandmother, and almost all of the women in my family have served in the abbey from generation to generation. My grandmother attempted to rally the people of Kresk against the Strahd, the devil, and when she went to Castle Ravenloft, she was gone, never heard from again. We created a grave in the abbey for her, but she never returned, and we did not bury her.
Jim says that he has visited this grave.
You've seen it
I have.
with your own eyes.
Yes.
The abbey was once beautiful, was it not? It is too bad it is abandoned.
It is no longer.
Oh?
I noticed an indentation in your grandmother's grave. A place for a holy symbol. Would you know of anything about this?
Yes, it was. It was the holy symbol that she wore of the morning. It was around her neck always.
And would you know why there's a powerful source of magic below the grounds where she was buried?
I do not. You sense this magic in my grandmother's grave in Kresk? She's like just looking confused and baffled.
I don't mean to confuse you, but do you know anything of the Bellevue family?
Oh yes, the Bellevue family. Yes. To be honest, we used to marry into the Bellevues, and the Bellevues used to produce handsome men. Only, I'm not exactly sure what happened to them. It has been a long time since I've seen any.
They uh, they now populate the monastery, and we suspect we don't know of anything wicked per se, but we are convinced there's strangeness afoot at the
Mhm.
monastery. And the Bellevues are the directive target, it would seem.
The
I don't know if they're the target, but
of what?
uh, they've become transformed, possibly by the abbot, of which we know little about.
She goes, the abbot, the handsome young man. Yes.
Handsome indeed.
Ah, yes. I remember him when I was a child. He came to Kresk and went to the abbey, but uh, I had always thought it abandoned. I just thought he was a lone acolyte of the Morning Lord who went to pray to the abbey. I did not think that he would stay in the abbey and make it his home. Is that what you're telling me?
Aye.
Oh.
He his intent has been shrouded in mystery since the moment we met him. He has a powerful influence.
She nods and says, "Yes, I felt that too about him when I first saw him. He was charismatic, energetic, and almost like a long lost memory." She kind of just shudders a little.
Uh, do you know anything further of this man, this strange man?
She says, "No, I've never, I've only ever said hi to him. We spoke briefly, but he was quite cryptic. I only remember how handsome he was, truly."
Jim just says, "Understandable."
I must go. It is late and I am quite tired. She kind of like says after she's has hauled to and from the windmill.
Uh, Jim says, "Sleep well, Lady Lydia. Thank you for bearing with me."
And you too. She kind of curtsies to all of you, and leans into all of you to give you a gentle and regal kiss on the cheeks, thanking you individually for helping her. And she goes upstairs. Erwin kind of leans heavily on the table and says, "You've come back. You've come back with a lot of information. It is a bit overwhelming."
Certainly no more overwhelming than everything that's been happening here for the past week.
Yes, yes, you are correct. Mm.
Strappy just noticing that, just kind of says, "We're sorry to burden you with this. Uh,
No,
Hopefully you'll
Don't,
forgive us."
do not say that. It is,
Helen went and hopped up on this bench here.
it is, this is a welcome change from the gloom and doom that I've been used to, and it seems that you are doing quite some good in Vallaki. So do not apologize for helping the town. I will not accept it.
Hey, we did get your wine back.
You did. They did. I've met my brother, which I have not seen in years, and my little brother. It is. You guys have done so much for me. I simply cannot thank you enough. I did not mean to insult you by saying what I said. I just,
Of course not. Uh, we should talk more about the Lady Wachter and what we plan to do about her. I've been thinking of ways to prove her who she really is before the people of Barovia, the people of Vallaki. And I wonder if she would accept a gift of wine from somebody in town without too much suspicion.
Helen raises an eyebrow, looks at Astropi.
I guess I am not sure. Perhaps Ernst Larnack, if you could convince him. He is. I do not want to insult him and say errand boy, but he tends to deliver a lot of words from Lady Wachter. Perhaps the guards would also help. I'm not sure. The guards will be close to her since she is now steward of Vallaki. If not for Ernst, I'd suggest perhaps one of the guards.
If we could get the Lady Wachter to drink of wine that has been cut with holy water, we would know, I suspect, right away whether or not she is who we think she is.
Hmm.
And because it's not poisoned, any of us could drink it in front of her
This is
safely.
true. This is true. There is little known ceremony that we do during town hall. Perhaps you could get Lucian to administer the drink. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea. My other thought on this was St. Andrew's Cathedral itself. It seems that if it was holy enough to injure Strahd, wouldn't the Lady Wachter want to avoid it as well? Perhaps we could present some case in which she should visit the cathedral and convince the people of Vallaki to demand that she visit the cathedral. Surely she would refuse.
Perhaps if she is as you say, she would definitely refuse to step into the church.
And Stroppy just sort of looks to Howland and Mir and into Jim and shrugs.
Yeah, I'm nodding.
Anything we can do to avoid an open conflict without proving and bringing to light who she is seems to be the best first plan. We all know, of course, that we can always fall back on Plan B. And she just kind of pats her silvered warhammer.
Ah, yes, Plan B.
Jim comes out of kind of a meditative stance that he's been holding since his conversation with Lydia, and kind of stumbles back to reality and says, "I
think that we should get to sleep. I think we have stuff to do in the morning. Visiting the cathedral and possibly other things."
Miriam says to Erwin, "Did you receive a delivery from the guards?"
Yes, it was the red dragon crush I gave you. It was really confusing. I saw it. And I looked at him, and he just said it was delivery, but he walked away before I could say anything.
I'm gonna need that back.
Surely. He hands it over to you, just incredibly confused. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Helen just says, sometimes we work in mysterious ways.
I suppose so. He shakes his head and he says, if you want, I have stew out ready for you in the tavern.
Sure.
Of course.
Helen pips up immediately and just goes that way.
Yeah, he nudges you. Of course, the rooms upstairs, they are still there for you. I will see you after. I must get back to work. There are Barovians to feed. And he steps outside, and the bar seems much busier than previously.
Wow, it seems even more busy than it was before.
No. I mean, not like that night, but in general.
Oh man, it's pretty busy in here. So Helen's gonna again look for people that look like they're wearing color.
Yeah, sure. You see, let me fill this up with some interesting people here.
Jim straddles up to a bar stool and smiles at Irwin before asking for Red Dragon Crush.
He pours you a glass of Red Dragon Crush wine. You see,
Helen
Cobalt.
does the same thing. Goes up, settles up right next to Jim, and goes like, "Hey, some for me too."
And
He pours you some as well.
and Jim says, "Aye," and does big cheers.
I cheers Jim, and walk
And,
back up towards this other table.
He Jim just looks around to the crowd and says, "Tuvalaki and to Barovia."
There are like maybe 3 or 4 people in this bar that also raise the drink. The other ones just kind of look over to you and raise the drink, almost kind of ceremoniously, but with almost with like an apathy to them.
Got him.
Got him. All right, I'm gonna go up to these 2 people. They look like they have actual icons now.
Yeah, well, that's Cobalt and Claudia.
Oh,
Oh,
And then you
where are
have
the
you have
kids at, by the
Zoldar.
way?
You have Zoldar and you have Genny down there. The kids are in the kitchen. Brom and Bray kind of took them upstairs to play.
we'll take them to the church in
Oh,
the morning.
okay. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe we should give them to Claudia and Cobalt.
Did Jim notice which of the people gave the cheers?
Yeah. Give me
Uh,
one second.
Then I think he would try to make a concerted effort to kind of, at least. I mean, obviously, Howland has ears and eyes, but
Yeah, I'm looking for those
we all
people.
we all know what this
specifically.
is about.
Yeah, so I go up here and there's a couple of these people that look like they're a little bit more enthusiastic, and they're also here with Claudia and Cobalt. And I raise a cheers to them. I hold my glass up, and it's like, to Valaki.
Tuvalaki! The woman enthusiastically says as she thrusts the wine glass towards you.
So Howland cheers everybody, and then also, like, before he takes a drink, he makes eye contact with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And he just, it's like, I see you. And then he takes a drink. And when he puts the drink down, he says, I think those of us here want what's best for this town. And maybe that isn't Lady Voctor.
You hear a little bit of commotion in the tavern. Then one of the others says, and then why do you think that is? Kind of Zoldar, you hear a creak in his chair as he looks over. You have Genny also kind of turns and looks, and now you kind of have the attention of everyone in the room.
I didn't really want the attention of everybody in the room.
Well,
but
you shouldn't have said fucked up shit.
And I just say, like, well, what do you think?
I
And
think
I look
he's-
to, like,
I
I look
think
to
he
one of
is
the
better.
Peruvians here.
I think she is better than Vargas. And like the other men, kind of just grunt.
Oh, well, that may be. But is she right?
She has not done anything wrong yet.
What if... Let's see, what would she have to be to make you not trust her?
They all kind of look to each other, and one of them says, "A vampire."
And Helen just kind of, like, laughs. He's like, oh, right. Like one of those. He takes a drink and says, but what if she was? How would you feel then?
You hear a couple more of the chairs turning from tables.
Hey guys, rejoin the video call when you get a sec.
And you hear a couple of the tables turning, and more people are kind of listening. One of the person yells out, "You are speaking blasphemy."
Okay, I'm not insinuating anything yet. I'm just asking a question. What if?
What? She was vampire? Some of them just
What
start.
would happen?
You hear like maybe 2 or 3 of them break off into conversations with themselves for a moment. A couple of people just kind of put their heads down, and maybe 1 or 2, even of the more colorful, spirited individuals, just kind of fall silent. What would you want us to do?
You wouldn't have to do anything. You just have to be ready to defend your town. You don't want it to be ruled by a vampire. I'm sure you don't.
One voice in the bar says, "If it is better than Vargas, is it really that bad?"
And Helen looks over at that person and says, "Do you know what a deal with the devil means?"
No, I try not to make them.
Haha, good for you. You're smarter than most.
Well, I mean, Borovian, of course we're smart.
Helen like laughs and like points at him like, of course. But if it meant that that any of you can be Strahd's next victim, what would that mean? Your family? Your kids? They're all up for bargain in a deal with Strahd. That's a deal that a vampire would very easily make.
You hear one of them say, "What do you expect us to do against a vampire and a vampire and the Lord Strahd? We are simple people. We do not swing and carry massive weapons like some of you." And he looks to like Cobal and looks to Zoldar and looks to Astrapi and looks to Miriam with her longbow as well and says, "What do you expect? We do not leave the walls of Alaki. We are but pawns."
We don't expect you to fight. It's okay. We do expect you to wield the strength of your conviction.
Our conviction is just making sure that Valakians live peacefully, are left alone, and not hurt.
That
What
may
else?
be.
What else can we ask for? What land do you come from? What do you expect more than just to not die an early death?
To live free?
What does that even mean? He looks to you and he's like, I do not
And
understand what you mean to live
Helen's
free.
smiling and just like,
He looks at another person. He says, "It sounds like stupid platitude. It means nothing in Vallaki. To live free. What is free?"
it might mean nothing here now to you.
Yes. It is very abstract concept. I cannot understand what you mean. To live free. I can pretend I am free, sure. Traveling from tavern to home, to tavern to home, to tavern to home.
When you see
Yeah.
foreigners traveling here, what do you think of them?
Think you are almost dead. If you're not dead now, you will disappear and not be seen again. Like every other foreigner that has ever traveled here through. Sure, I've only ever heard a tale that some foreigners here last longer than others, like that silly dwarf out there, the small man who work at blacksmith. He's been here for many years. Yes, he is exception, not rule.
Why do you think it is that they get snuffed out?
The devil.
It's because they know what freedom is. They came here from a world where they have that.
The guy who's been kind of going back and
The
forth with
heckler?
you just kind of quiets down. Yeah, he kind of quiets down.
So, and then so Howland continues, us foreigners We come from that world. This is not an abstract concept to us. It's very real, and we know that it can exist. We've lived our whole lives in that world. We want to bring that here. But we can't do it by ourselves. We will do the fighting.
One of the Barovians says, "Yeah, good luck with that," and finishes a drink and kind of turns away. Give me a persuasion check for maybe everybody else who seems to be listening to you. Kind of. Yeah, a couple more kind of turn and just it's the same story every time. It's like that crazy wizard that was here many years ago. Silly foreigners. You should just be quiet. Don't go causing a storm in Vallaki. It's just finished calming down after Vargas.
And if anybody's going to leave, I call out after them. All right. Hope you're not going to go see the light to the west.
What do you mean?
Yeah, that's there for a reason. When was the last time you saw that?
A couple of them look at you like you're crazy.
We fought Strahd there. That's why the light is there. It's not actually why the light is there, but I'm still gonna go. I'm still gonna say it.
A couple more of them leave the tavern. They're just kind of sick of hearing about the topic, and maybe your persuasion kind of disinterested them from the conversation. Some of the others are still listening in, but obviously not vocal enough. Maybe one of the more spirited people says, "Sunlight in Vallaki." I thought that was just simple rumor. Is it true?
Kresk.
Or sorry, in Kresk. Is it true?
You can look out and see it for yourself.
You can't, by the way. You cannot see it from Vallaki.
Well, if you've seen all the pilgrims walking, traveling to the west, that's what they're going to see.
Yeah, we did see
it with my own eyes.
We did see someone from village of Barovia come here not too long ago. Just today, I believe. The two patrons who are sitting next to you say, "Are you sure there is sunlight in Vallaki or in Kresk?"
I am sure. You can see it with your own eyes. I invite you to.
They're rolling inside on you. You see this kind of inspirational look on the younger man, and he grabs presumably his wife and says, "Let's leave. Let's go to Kresk. Come." And they he says, if they tell true, let us go see Sun. Come. And he kind of escorts her out, and they disappear.
Man, we're bad for business.
Yeah. It's okay. We drink enough on our own.
I mean, we brought all this wine.
Yeah,
whatever.
That's kind of true.
True enough.
Astropi's gonna sit down at the table with Clavdia and Cobal now that it's not quite as crowded in here.
You just see Cobal is kind of looking into his drink. He takes a couple sips of it. He hasn't said a word since he's been here, but his hand is reaching across the table and it's just kind of embracing Clavdia's. And Clavdia's going over what looks to be scripture that was given to her by Lucian.
Astropi takes notice of that and asks her, "How goes it? Your studies?"
It goes. It is hard learning to read. Lucian set us up with this simple scripture. It is for children. We are practicing a little slow, I believe, because we are older, but as they say, it's better now than never, yes? Cobal refuses to read. He says the only talking that needs to be done is with his axe. And she shakes her head as she looks at him.
Astropi kind of looks down sheepishly for a moment and then looks back to Clavdia and says, "I understand exactly what you're going through. I I struggle sometimes myself. What I know of my god Bahamut, I learned mostly through songs and oral tradition through my clan. The scriptures I have read, I read only with years of struggling and tutelage. But I get by, and uh, I draw faith from within, and not from these pages anymore. You'll do fine.
She looks at you almost inspired and says, "Perhaps, perhaps someday I hope to look to the same inspiration instead of just the written word."
You'll get there.
So she kind of looks over her shoulder to make sure none of the Barovians nearby are listening and says, "What happened? Where did you go? I heard you left east, and I see that you're here, but I did not see you come in through the front."
They won't let us in any of the gates. We had to sneak in.
I was afraid you'd say that.
We had heard that the Baroness was taken to an old windmill east of here. We went to retrieve her. The Baron Vargas was cruel, but Lady Lydia is a good woman, and we think she'll be a fine leader for this town.
She says, "Lydia, she's here."
She's safe.
I will not say anything to anyone. And you know Cobalt, he does not speak.
We also found some children, orphans, that will need to be going back to St. Andrew's.
Oh, you found some more.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Perhaps Cobalt and I have been talking, and we are thinking of taking the children to Kresk.
That may be
And
good.
if the sun is there, perhaps the children might want to see it. I'm not sure how long the sun will be around, so it is better to catch it sooner than if it were to never to show.
If there's anything to give them a chance at growing up with some hope in their hearts, perhaps seeing the light at a young age will do that.
She kind of leans into you playfully and says, all of you are really nice people. I'm glad to have met you. It is comfortable change from some of the stern Barovians here who are a little bit more distant."
Strappy just sighs deeply and says, well, they'll come around. They've been living under tyranny and darkness for who knows how long. Takes time.
She nods. She nods and she gives a sigh as if she knows the feeling and sensation. She says, before we decide to head to Kresk, we're going to gather some supplies from Lucians and some of the others here in Borovia. Is there anything you want us to take to Kresk? Besides the children, of course. Do you have letter or perhaps some goods to deliver?
Yes. I think we should pen a letter to our friend Radovan, and I look at Howland across the table at Howland, and as I say that, perhaps we should update him on what's going on.
You guys get a message through your tattoos, and it's the voice of Ismark. "I have arrived in the village of Borovia. I am with Donovich. We are talking about his son. I will update you tomorrow."
All right.
I think I've already used mine today.
You can respond for free.
No. You
No?
you just hear. Everyone hears.
Okay, I thought you said that every time we get spoken to, we have a chance to respond.
I don't think so.
You can respond using your thing. Like if it's in combat,
Okay.
you can respond using your thing.
it.
But no, you know who it's directed to specifically, but everyone can hear it.
Got it.
But anyway, yeah, I think Howland, would you mind writing a letter for Radovan?
Sure. What do you want to say?
I'll leave the words to you. They're not my strong suit. Just an
Uh,
update on the situation.
All right, that should be no problem. But I need to go get some parchment from Mirror. But I took out this Mastermind's quill,
Your totally sweet pen.
totally sweet pen.
Oh,
I just kind of
yeah.
like hold it in my hands a little bit. I'm just
Sweet ass pen, dude.
He's
like,
like
it's awesome.
doing this thing with it.
Like twirling it a little bit. It's like,
Mere slides
Yeah.
of parchment.
so I get to work. And I'm just, it's just a letter updating Radovan on everything that's happened, what the situation is here in Valaki since he's left. Um,
While he's writing that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, that's fine. I'm just doing this.
So while he's writing that, I also turn back to Clavdia and say, one more thing about Kresk. You may want to avoid the Abbey, and certainly do not bring the children there.
She kind of raises a brow at you, but nods a little and kind of gets the hint. Even Cobalt kind of looks to you for a moment, and then looks back down to his drink.
What? It's getting late, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nightfall. We're saying this time is passing by slowly, so
Yeah.
unless you guys want to do something else in the tavern or around Bolaki,
I think we need a good long rest.
Yeah.
sure. You are able to in the morning. Obviously, not as many people are here. There's like one or two of the Barovians that kind of always visit, or that are the morning drinkers. You guys are all back downstairs. I'm assuming maybe around a table eating some food or something. It's the same beet stew with some carrots and wolf meat that Zoldar and Yevgeny have hunted. This time the wolf meat is cooked into the stew because he knows that when the last time you had ordered food here, you all kind of requested the wolf meat, so he marinated it within the beet soup. It tastes really
Nice.
good. It tastes really
Yeah,
good.
dude.
Oh man, I just realized the character sheet's changed.
Yeah.
Yep.
They updated the spell list so you can see all the components of your spell from the main screen.
Oh, they
Had-
did.
Cool.
I had a whole bunch of, let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've got missing data, but there's a thing in here that tells you how to get it. Okay, cool. I had a bunch of notes in my features and traits that are gone, but I just have to go back to simple mode to get them.
Oh yeah, mine are gone too.
Yeah, there's a thing under there that says like looking for missing data, and it shows you how to get at what was in there before. Okay, so I guess we're having breakfast now.
Yeah, nothing happens over the course of the night. It's a pretty restful evening out here in Valaki. There haven't been many qualms or troubles considering all the cleanup work you guys have been doing in and around the town.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear too many wolf attacks. You don't hear too many howling over the middle of the night.
All right.
Well, we should make sure the children get to St. Andrew's.
I'm sure Clavdia and Cobalt can handle it.
Okay.
They do. They probably end up taking the kids at night, just before you guys go to bed. You hand the passed out children who are probably exhausted from the walk, and Cobalt throws them both over his shoulders and heads to the church at night.
He's just wearing them like pauldrons.
Yeah, pretty much. So you guys are sitting all around this table, kind of eating this beet stew, and Erwin is leaning on the table and almost like he didn't get enough sleep last night. Danica is just kind of sitting on the bar stool next to the other Barovians, and she's making small talk with them. It's a very, very calm morning.
All right.
So unless everybody else has any other objections, I think there's something I want to check out at the Wachter House.
Astrami
No
kind of
objections here.
cringes at the mention of the Walker House. All right.
Jim says, "I'll see if I can't uh, commune with the Ravens for some reconnaissance work,"
Hmm.
and heads out toward the streets and just starts kind of cawing toward the sky.
I think he does.
And you just like shock a nearby Barovian, ah! And they just kind of look at you for a moment and walk away, just confused and scared. And then you see Paulie. He lands. Hey, what's going on? Looks like you survived that little incident at the windmill. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little concerned that you weren't gonna make it back here.
I, understandably so.
Hey,
Dear
it's,
Polly.
must have been pretty
Um,
crazy.
We
It's crazy.
we handled it.
And
the,
I didn't want to stick around. I figure I'd hate to see.
I wouldn't
know.
expect you to.
All right. No hard
It
feelings.
was,
No hard feelings.
No, it would have been a sorry sight had you been in the mix.
He kind of ruffles his feathers for a little bit, like spreads and presents his wings, and then brings them down. And he goes, "But I did manage to drop a rock on that bald idiot."
Yeah, that was great.
Did see that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
Finest Iowa, I'm not gonna lie.
Jim produces some of the nut bread,
Hey,
and he holds it away for a second, and
he goes, "Come on, what's the deal? I know what you want with that, and you
And
know
Jim
what with
Jim
that, so.
smiles deeply.
We have
And,
we have an arrangement. You don't have to bait me for it. Give me the bread.
You just gotta go down the street. That's
Just
all
give-
I'm asking Polly, and he produces the bread and just
All right,
says, I just need you to look over the Walker house."
Paulie kind of pecks at it a little bit and eats the bread and goes, "What's there to look at?" A couple people kind of come into the back near the cellar every day, and they leave. I'm not sure. They're always wearing hoods. It's a little weird. Not gonna lie. Not sure what they do. It's just what I see. So
Do you think you could get me just a little bit more precise information?
what do you need? What are you looking for? Like time frame?
Yeah, just,
All day. All day. Usually, I'd probably say here in a little bit they go in. He kind of looks up for a moment, kind of presents his wings a little bit to get a feel of the air, and he goes, "Yeah, it's about that time of day where they kind of go to walk the house, and then at night, if there's not one or two who are entering, they're all leaving and going back home."
Have you noticed anything else strange?
Besides
Wildlife
people,
disappearing nearby, or
say that again.
wildlife disappearing nearby?
Oh
or,
yeah, we
or
don't.
any
None
sort
of us go near the house.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
We're not sure why exactly. It's just consider it a gut feeling. It's just weird, the house. Ugh.
Well, Polly, I think that's all I'm going to need. Of course, if you see anything else strange nearby, please let me know.
Sure.
And throw you a little more bread next time.
Hey, sure. I'll see what I can get. And he flies off.
And he just kind of craws after him. Just, "Craw!"
It's like a dwarven scrawl.
Right?
Craw!
Bro.
And yeah, that's all I need. And obviously, I didn't get much new information out of it, so I don't really feel the need to share it with the group, except to say that there's still strange characters coming in and out of the basement.
It's kind of what I. That backs up what I saw.
It does. It very much does. Depends on how you guys are gonna act now.
How are we gonna
We're
act?
going in there. There's evil to be smote.
You're not wrong.
And I would much rather do it during the day than at night. So I kind of want to lead everybody over there.
To the Water House.
To the Walker house.
You're maybe 100 feet, a couple hundred feet away from it, and you can still see it. To give you a short descriptor of the house itself, even from a distance, right? The house just seems disgusted with itself. It has a slouching roof that hangs heavy over some furrowed gables, and moss-covered walls sag and bulge under the weight of the vegetation. As you study the house from a distance, its sullen countenance, you hear the edifice kind of groan. Only then do you realize the extent that the house itself looks like it hates that which it has become.
So before we go over there, I'm gonna grill Jim on like, so were you talking to that raven? I heard a lot of cawing. Just want to ask about.
He just randomly yells at birds.
Yeah. Jim just he just says he confirmed exactly what he had seen the day before. Just
Okay.
strange figures coming in and out of the basement.
So what Howland proposes to do is that he is going to wait in stealth for the next person that goes down into the cellar to ambush them and take them prisoner. So he wants, this is like this is going to be done. So he's going to ask Mir specifically, like, if I can get the jump on this person, what should I do to try to, like, hold this, is there something that, if somebody comes into the cellar or whatever, tries to go down there, what should I do to, like, restrain them or, like, try to get, like, information out of them?
Well, we can just manacle them, but if we're trying to turn this town and one of these people is not, this is just a Barovian, this isn't going to look good for kidnapping somebody.
But I mean, we're not hurting them.
I mean, it's still kind of kidnapping.
Right.
Stroppy's like elbows him. He's right. She's right. I mean,
Well,
This is kind of my profession. This definitely falls under the kidnapping.
what if we
Domain.
just tried to get information out of them right there? What if it wasn't kidnapping?
What if we have Jim turn into like a mouse?
I
Go
could
take a
attempt to
look.
follow him.
That might work.
You're all pointy daggers and subterfuge, my friend. But
You're not wrong.
I
don't know. I
I'm
write
not
what I
sure
know.
I'm down with this. Just blackjacking somebody in the dome.
Stroppy's looking up, and she's looking up at the house and the roof, and she thinks, she's kind of says, "I bet if I hit this thing just right, it would just come down."
It does hate itself. That is kind of the definition of a house that hates itself.
It is.
I think we need to get to whatever is in this cellar. And
Just
maybe that
alright,
requires more.
real quick, meta-wise, like if I'm wild shape, can I communicate using the phone a friend?
Yeah, you can.
All right, cool.
What if we do this?
You guys spot Ernst Larnack walking down the street. He has not noticed you, and he continues further towards the Wachter house with his back to you.
Burnt.
I roll. Yeah, I rolled. I rolled perception 3 times, and he did not see you guys.
Damn.
Damn.
He was one of the cronies that was there when we when we met Lady Walker, right?
He was the one that,
He was the guy that invited
tried
us.
to. Yeah,
That's right.
he invited you guys to the Lady Wachter house to have dinner with her, and he also asked Howland. Actually, did you tell them Howland about that or no?
No.
Okay, never mind.
What if we just get some mice and have Jim talk to them and see if they'll go down and check it out for us?
It's not a bad idea.
Jim
I mean,
says,
Jim
"I'm
can
gonna
also
need some
talk to
bread."
these bushes, right? And just ask them what they've seen.
Jim does confirm, as if to say he prepared that spell specifically for situations such as this.
The bushes aren't inside the cellar, to be honest, and they're not going to know what's in there.
That is
I
true.
want to know what's in there.
You gonna talk to a bush? Is that what you said?
We haven't decided on that yet.
Alright.
We're still figuring it out.
Seems like Jim might be our best avenue into figuring out what's in here before we get involved.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've already confirmed that, like, small animals and stuff don't typically go near the Walker house. The critters ain't gonna be there for me to try to finagle, so I'll have to either convince one to follow a guy, which could be difficult, or just follow him myself as a rat.
Okay.
Obviously, it's a bit meta-wise, but so I guess why don't you come up with like a signal, like or I guess Jim discusses with Howland strategy here. Just says, I'll wait around the corner where I can see you, and you give a signal when you see a figure emerge.
Okay.
Jim also notes that he can maintain his form about 3-4 hours or so.
Miriam's just gonna like try and look, try and hide herself somewhere nearby.
Sure. Yeah,
This
maybe
is trying to be
you're.
as nondescript as possible.
Yeah. Most Barovians don't really care about your presence. The occasional guard might like look over at you guys and furrow their brows for a moment angrily at you.
We're just hanging out. We're not making any trouble.
It's true. You're not, but they're still like a little perturbed at your presence. Kind of, you get the sense of, despite all the good that you guys have done, you still get the sense of just like this overwhelming sensation that you're like strangers in a strange land, foreigners. People peer at you suspiciously.
Well, those people aren't our allies anyway.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of there are.
Yeah, you do. Maybe for like every 9 people that sneer at you, one of them kind of walks by and smiles or nods and recognizes you.
That ain't bad. That's a pretty good reputation.
Yeah, and it doesn't take long before you guys see another person who looks hooded, who also doesn't see you, but does the kind of looks down into the, and they're going towards the cellar.
I motion towards them and say, Jim.
And instantly, Jim is now in the form of a rat.
All right, you creepy crawl over toward where he's at, and you see a cellar. That the cellar entrance. You kind of pop down these stairs quietly. You hear some like, are you following right behind this guy? Or are you like just trying to get into the slam the door?
I'm being stealthy as fuck.
All right, give me a stealth check.
Yeah.
just to creep in.
What kind of bonuses do rats have, if any?
What do you? Hold on, let me see.
Give him like a +3.
It's like plus 15 to stealth. It's rat.
Yeah, that's what I would imagine too. Just +15.
Right.
Dex +15.
Hold on a
Add
second.
your rat bonus.
It's your rat
+12.
bonus.
+12.
really
Let's
get
see
anything.
here. Mm,
Can I do a spider instead?
yeah, whatever it is you want to transform into.
All right. Yeah. I'll do a spider.
Sure.
Pretty sure they
Yeah,
definitely
in
do
that case, you don't need to roll stealth.
Cool.
The even if the dude could notice you, he probably wouldn't give a shit about a spider. So yeah, you kind of crawl into the cellar. You see this man walk downstairs.
8 men.
Do I hear anything?
He keeps walking downstairs, and then he makes a left and walks down an additional flight of stairs. In front of him, where that flight of stairs kind of plateaued over the cellar wall, you see a dirt floor on the ground, and there are 2 sets of stone stairs. One that you're like kind of crawling down along the ledges of, and
Well,
one
I'm going
across the
along the
way.
room.
Oh, you're crawling up.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you crawl up and move across the wall. So now you get a good glimpse of this view, although it does take a minute. You hear a door kind of move, almost like it is made of stone, and then it closes. Give me a acrobatics check.
Okay. As a
Just roll a natural d20.
all right.
I'll simplify the DC since we're not like calculating your characters. Okay. Yeah, so you don't see where it originated from because you're just taking your time climbing up the wall and you're so small. So you notice the flight is the man went down a flight of stairs. You heard stone moving, and then
Could I feel it with my little feely
yes,
hands?
you could feel it against the walls.
Cool.
So the cellar that you're in, it has a large root cellar, and it has a dirt floor. There are 2 ascending flights of stone steps that are enclosed by wooden railings, and they stand across from one another. There are tracks in the earth, the dirt floor, that lead from one staircase to the other, and other trails that go from the staircases to the center of this bare western wall. There are 4 neatly made cots that are set in a row against the south wall. You hear the man as he kind of like walks down the flight of stairs. He kind of looks left and looks right a little bit before he leaves into this room or into another room. He says, "Let the dead remain at rest." And then he kind of looks around for a second, and then he walks down the flight of stairs. And he goes. That's when you hear the stone slab moving, and then it closes.
Ominous. Okay. Does this strike me as a ritual site?
Give me an insight check. No.
Okay. Does it bear any familiarity to like
With your insight, you do know that the bare western wall is the false door. You know that the man didn't go up the opposite stairs across the way from the dirt thing because you would have seen him. So he must have gone through a wall on the western edge of the room.
got it.
You see a little crack kind of near the ground from where that wall is as you're kind of like traveling across the ceiling.
I will proceed toward the crack. I mean, is it big enough to crawl through?
Yeah, spiders can move through anything that's like a small, like even smaller than like an inch in diameter.
Sick. Doing it.
So you come into another room, and in this room, flickering candles and iron holders fill this room with light and shadows. This room has a 10-foot high ceiling, and there's a large black pentagram inscribed in the stone floor. At each point of the pentagram rests a wooden chair. Seated in 4 of the 5 chairs are men and women in black robes with hoods.
Mm. Found the ritual site.
There looks to be a young man who has the face of an angel, a balding hulk of a man, a squat, a middle-aged woman, and a taller younger woman with an unsettling glare.
Um,
You hear one of them say, "Lady Wachter was right to promise us power and wealth in Vallaki." One of the other men says, "Yes, and long life."
ominous. Um, are there any components nearby, like as far as rituals would be concerned?
You don't see any. Give me an Arcana check. Nice. The pentagram looks strictly decoration.
Fucking
It doesn't
Poser.
appear to have any magical
poser as vampires. Shit.
Oh man, super duping them.
Um. All right. I
We
guess.
knew Zoom meeting too.
Jim just reaches out to the group and just says, "I've located a site. The robed figures speak of Lady Wachter and promises of power. And I think with that, that's really all I have the balls to do in this area. And I think I'm gonna attempt to move on out of here."
Yeah. You crawl out. But not before you kind of get the sensation that something was looking at you.
Mm. I increase my pace.
You're able to get out, and just as you leave and you're in the cellar, you see Lady Wachter walking down the stairs calmly. She gets to the plateau on the opposite side, not the part where you entered, and says, "Let the dead stay at rest." And then she walks down calmly and goes to that false wall, and it opens, and she goes in, and it closes behind her.
God, wouldn't
my
we have
God.
seen Lady Wachter?
She didn't come in through the cellar door,
Yeah,
Oh,
she
that's
came in from the Wachter
probably
house,
from the house, you can assume.
the other set of stairs.
Yeah, you exit through the small 1-inch hole in the back of the cellar, and probably takes you a couple minutes to get back to your allies, but you're now standing right in front of them outside.
Alrighty. Well, obviously, if we're out of eyesight of the Wachter house, he'll return to druid form.
You guys see Jim kind of magnify his size to his normal dwarf size, and he's standing in front of you.
Beyond that, he says, "I think there may be a trap laden just upon the cellar door. Each figure that entered spoke the words, 'May the dead lay at rest.' I assume this is a disarming phrase." I mean, I assume that's what that was.
Okay. What of the house?
It's no prettier on the inside, he notes, and says beyond what he told you, he only saw Lady Wachter enter at the very end, but upon feeling praying eyes, he decided to cut his journey short.
You can probably determine that using your communication tattoo probably gave something away magically via
Yep,
your 22 insight.
I had a feeling. So, Jim also relays to the group in situations such as these in the future. We may have to keep our magical communication to a minimum. Believe it might have blown my cover to an extent. And with that, he suggests, you know, uh, formulating a plan of action.
I think we try and expose her at the meeting.
How so?
Well, I think first and foremost, we see if we can see her in the mirror and see if she, appears to be a vampire. Clearly, she's up to no good, but I think our primary thing here is to find out if she's a vampire or not.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Fair enough.
If we were to, even if we were to defeat her, if it were in a dark room where Valachians couldn't see it, it would make it a lot harder for us to turn the favor of the town back to Lydia.
This is true.
Broad daylight at the town meeting might actually be the best place to confront her.
Perhaps we should speak to Lucian about mixing in the holy water to the wine.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Or simply blessing the wine itself.
Mm-hmm. He could probably just bless the whole bottle. I mean, I could probably bless the whole bottle, I guess, huh? But yeah, we can take it to St. Andrew's church and consecrate the wine in the presence of the saint's bones. Give it a little extra juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all down for subterfuge. I have a bad feeling about going into this cellar right now.
Yeah, fuck that. I feel like fighting
vampires are no good.
5 vampires in a basement may not work out too well for us.
Fight them on a lot of day. I think it'll go far better for us. But I
At the
do
very least,
believe
if
that we will
they're-
have to fight them.
Yeah, probably. But if they have to transform or use any of their powers in front of the town, then that makes our jobs a lot easier.
It's true. Let us go to St. Andrew's.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's not too long before you guys are in front of the church. Milojov is out attending the graves as usual. He kind of nods at a distance and waves at you guys as you enter. Lucian is not holding a congregation. You guys just arrived a little late for one. He's kind of supplicating with Claudia for a moment, and when they notice you walk in, they stop, and Claudia goes to take a break. Lucian, however, does greet you. Says, hello, welcome back to St. Andrews. What brings you here? You seek blessing of Morning Lord again?
Greetings, Lucian. That's correct. We do seek the blessing of the Morning Lord and a little something extra, if you'd be willing to help.
What did you have in mind?
And I who has the bottle of the Dulaston? the champagne.
I think Mir does.
I do.
Mir does, yeah.
Stroppy turns to Mir and says, what do you think? The champagne? A gift she can't refuse?
Champagne. She's like looking at it like painfully, like.
And Stroppy just like kind of holds her hand out and just holds
uh,
it open.
Miriam like puts the bottle neck in her hand and like holds it, like doesn't want to let it go.
There'll be plenty more where that came from. I turn back to the priest and say, do you think that if you were to consecrate this wine here in the presence of Saint Andrel and the Morning Lord, do you think you could bless it such that it would carry the divine power of the Morning Lord, a bit like maybe holy water?
Also, Jim at this point attempts to console Mir with the fact that he feels that the next batch of Dulastomp is going to be the best vintage yet.
Mary kind of mutters, "She's always doing this."
Just giving our stuff away.
Lucian says, yes, of course. And there's something I can do.
We intend to give it as a gift to the new lady of Valaki.
Ah, to Lady Wachter. Kind of raises a brow at you guys for a moment.
Howland takes that as a cue and says, "What do you know of Lady Wachter? Do you think she is who she says?"
Well, what do you mean?
Is she a true Barovian?
Yes. He like nods with affirmation. Of course.
It's like a private
What
conversation.
is her opinion of?
No,
Strahd?
that there aren't people here. There is no congregation at the church right now. It's kind of midday. Or not, I wouldn't say midday. It's still early in the morning, but it's post congregation. And Lucian says, no, she is true Barovian, although she is.
So
Mir just
Howland
says,
asks,
"We think she's a vampire."
What?
we have reason to believe that she is a vampire, but I ask you, has she ever been to this church?
When she was a child, I believe, yes.
When was the last time she was here?
I do not recall. She does not come for a supplication or blessing. I usually have Ernst usually comes here and takes the supplication on her behalf.
What do you think that she would do if we were to invite her to come take her supplication here in person?
She has never been much for the church.
What
Perhaps.
if we asked it as a show of good faith to stewardship of Valaki?
Interesting. You're trying to get her here in case that she is a vampire.
Possibly.
It would be the best place to fight her.
He laughs nervously and says, "Oh, you're serious? You plan to fight her?"
Oh, if we
Oh,
have
we
to.
do. If we have to.
Of course. I was
I
afraid
have a
you'd say
feeling the
that.
Morning Lord would forgive you.
Perhaps. I cannot speak for him. And he gives a quick blessing for a moment. He immediately does the cross motion. And he goes, "Yeah, it is certainly a gesture." What if she declines? What will you do? Of course, it's certainly not proof, just because she declines.
No, but it definitely wouldn't be a good look.
Perhaps
Would it?
not. I agree. It would seem a little bit suspicious. Yes.
Also, she drinks this wine at the town meeting, and has an adverse reaction to it. That's a pretty damning
It's true.
sign.
I've heard a lot of things about how vampires aren't very good with sanctified liquids.
She is priestly, though, if I'm not mistaken.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm positive.
How so?
Um, she has had Ernst take many scripture into her house and returned it. Uh, Ernst says she studies, but I'm not sure exactly how much she does.
Jim notes this and just says, I have no doubt in my mind that a vampire could learn to manipulate the divine.
Especially if she is a wizard.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Strappy just kind of holds the champagne de l'Estan out and says, "Would you mind?"
Oh yes, of course. He takes the champagne de la stomp, and says, "Sit." The various benches that are here, and he puts the champagne de la stomp. He starts chanting in some kind of almost like a ancient Barovian tongues kind of way. Starts chanting and singing this eloquent song and humming. And he reaches the altar and places the drink down and continues this chant. And he almost sways in like a ritual like performance. He lights this smoky substance in a golden urn of sorts, and he rocks it back and forth, almost like it's an incense.
Censer. That's what it's called. A
Censer, yeah, censer. He rocks this censer back and forth and around, left and to the right, until then circles the drink, and you, Astrapi particularly, you see uh, almost like a slight glimmer emanate from the surrounding areas, almost as if uh, your priestly conviction, your clerical conviction, is what is able to allow you to see what Lucian is doing. And after about 5 to 10 minutes of his praying and rocking the censer back and forth and casting these blessings over and over, he finishes the ceremony and then pulls the champagne de l'Estamp bottle from the surface of the altar and turns and presents it to you. Says, "Here it is. It is blessed. The light of the morning Lord is infused in the wine."
I accept the bottle with both hands very carefully, and I nod to the father, and I say, "Thank you very much. If you don't mind, uh, I'd like to do one more thing here. Um, may I speak with my God in the house of the Morning Lord?"
Yes, of course.
And I fish around into my pouch and pull 25 gold pieces out and sort of like dump them into a bowl. If there's like a bowl around or something on an altar,
There is.
take some incense out, light that, and I'm going to cast divination as a ritual, and I'm going to speak with Bahamut.
Oh shit.
Fucking sick.
So I think it actually consumes the. It's a sacrificial offering worth at least 25 gold, so I'm just going to offer the gold.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it'll probably just either consume it, or I don't know if it just like is offered to wherever I leave it, like it stays at the church, or I don't know. But magic and offering puts you in contact with a god or a god's servants. You ask a
Can we
single question.
can we as Flair make it that the gold pieces melt down and form into Bahamut's head?
Ooh, I like
Be
it.
Like
cool,
in the bowl.
right?
like a 3D printer.
I see it.
Yeah. So, paging Bahamut. Come in, Bahamut.
Talking Bahamut.
As I'm casting this ritual, I reach down and I say, great platinum dragon, I seek your wisdom and your vision, and I hold the champagne du listant out, and I ask, uh, if we can present this as a gift to Lady Voctor from somebody, or if we can present this wine as a gift to Lady Voctor, will she drink it? Will she drink from this bottle at the town meeting in a toast?
All right. Give me just 1 second here.
Sure.
I'm actually going to show you an image. Just for whatever reason, I had it uploaded initially, but it didn't save it. Almost done. 1 second. So the gold burns away, and almost like a flying holy radiance image of this magnificent dragon presents itself. Perhaps, and almost its head. It was like half the size of the internal part of the church.
Holy shit. This is awesome.
Oh yeah, fuck.
Now let me read the language.
Oh yeah.
All right. So Bahamut looks to you in his magnificent presence and says, "Oh, I really want to make this impactful because what I say is going to be super important. So, repeat to me what your question was."
It was, um, if this bottle of wine is presented to the Lady Voctor for a toast at the during the town meeting, will she drink from it?
Bahamut looks to you and says, in a as deep of a dragon voice as he can, and says, "She will drink from it, and it will not affect her. You are being misled."
Astrapi looks stunned and steps back a little bit. She sort of reaches out like she wants to ask more questions. What do you mean? What do you mean misled? Tell us, what do we do? Please help us bring down this vile woman. Help us cleanse this land.
Mm. You see him slowly shaking his head left and right, and he says, "It is a distraction." And his image disappears.
Fuck.
What level spell is that, by the way?
It's a 4th level spell.
Okay, good. That just gave you a lot.
Damn.
Mayor just says, "Do it again."
Wait,
You guys all saw this, by the way.
call him again.
Really?
And I
Yeah,
need
everyone gets to see this.
I need everyone to give me a charisma saving throw.
Well, that's not gonna do well.
I want everyone give me a charisma saving throw. If you are chaotic,
us?
you have not you. If you are chaotic, you have disadvantage.
All right.
Like
Disadvantage. Here we
straight
go.
chaotic or any version.
Oh yeah.
Any chaotic, you have disadvantage.
I rolled a 3.
Oh, Jim. Oh my god.
Okay.
There it is,
Uh,
guys. My
none of
second
you-
one.
None of you except Astropi and Lucian can look upon Bahamut's image. It is physically impossible to look upon his glory. You just have to move your heads away from his image and just listen.
Mirror uses the mirror to look at it.
It won't let you. I shouldn't say it won't let you, but when you try to look towards it, a light blinds you, and that makes it so that you cannot see.
Interesting.
The fucking one.
Yeah.
Jim just got knocked on his ass by it. And it's just,
Yeah.
he's just like,
it was so overwhelming that perhaps even you cried. Maybe
Yeah.
he sobbed a little or something.
he's just on his back, just like tears streaming down into his ears.
Did Lucian see this?
Yeah. Lucian was gazing upon its wonder.
And he's just smiling.
Yeah, you perhaps even saw him bow deeply as Bahamut made his presence.
So I just turn to Lucian and say thank you. I'm sorry if we wasted your time. Return back to the party.
As you turn, he says, "Young one, never apologize to me. You have not wasted my time. Every time you've come here, it has been a blessing."
Just turn to the party and say, she's not a vampire.
Jim slowly starts getting up, wiping the tears away.
Mayor just looks at Howland and goes,
Then who could this have been about?
Maybe she's a charlatan. Who knows?
Well, if she's not a vampire, then you guys would have no problem going into that cellar now, would you?
I would.
But
Says
why?
Jim. Well, she is a powerful wizard still.
If it's even about her.
And is it really the wisest idea to storm the basement of the Burgomaster and slay
I
her
think
where
if we're
she
gonna,
stands?
I think we need to.
A
show her
Barovian,
open-
innocent in the eyes of the people.
Do we just peace out?
I think we should still go listen in on the meeting. See what happens there. See what she has to say. I don't know.
I agree.
This changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still Astropi still believes that Lady Wachter is bad.
Well, she's
I mean,
totally a necromancer.
She's something, and she's somebody who is obviously. I mean, she thinks very highly of Strahd. So I believe that she's still evil, and I still want to remove her from power. But I'm kind of thrown for a loop here as to this red herring that we've been chasing, and who the dark the Dark Lady of Vallaki may be, and
The Lucian kind of leans in for a moment and has been listening and says, perhaps the Dark Lord himself is trying to confuse you.
I
It
wouldn't
is.
move past him.
It sounds like his work.
It doesn't seem like
He
something that would benefit him.
he delights in sowing discord, and it seemed as though it almost worked. Imagine what would have happened if you had gone through with this and discovered that she wasn't a vampire and expected that she was.
I look at
You,
Lucian in the mirror.
he says you all would have looked like fools. Lucian kind of gives the best old man smile he can back at you through the mirror. I like that you're checking everybody, like all
Yeah.
key NPCs. You're just like, wait a minute here. Let me just check.
I also glance at my shadow.
Your shadow is trying to avoid the mirror. It's like dancing around.
well,
Yeah, I don't know.
should we return to the Blue Water Inn for now, or continue to spy on the Wachter house, or I don't know what.
Well,
to do at this point.
I
I'm
gotta.
ready to just leave this town now.
I think we should still check out the meeting at the very least, but
Yeah, but that's in like 2 days, right?
One day now.
one day, yeah. But it's 11:15 right now.
Yeah,
so
I mean, we're this session's pretty much.
we should
over.
probably just go back to the inn and then call this one there. Here,
Sounds good to me.
so I think it's a good stopping place.
So, as we're leaving and saying our goodbyes and everything, as we're about to leave, I don't know if we said this yet, but Astrapi's gonna, as she's kind of giving the Lucian like a handshake or a hug or whatever, she's gonna lean in and say, "Your sister is safe."
He kind of grabs you, almost losing all of his control in his knees, and you kind of help him from falling. And you see like kind of wipe a single tear from his eye and says, "Thank you. Where is she? Can I see her?"
She's at the Blue Water Inn.
He smiles. He says, "My heart can wait. I will give it some time so as to not draw suspicion."
Thank you. And she kind of squeezes his shoulder, and as she goes away, before she walks away.
Wait. Before you leave. He goes to the back. And he pulls out 2 potions. And he hands them to you. One of them is a
Ooh.
potion of greater healing,
Ooh.
4d8 plus 4. And the other one is a potion of heroism.
I like it. What's the potion of heroism do?
I'll let you know right now. Potion of heroism works just like the spell. A willing creature, when you drink it, you're immune to being frightened, and you gain temporary hit points equal to your spellcasting ability modifier at the start of each of your turns for 1 minute. When the spell, actually, hold on, let me see if this is the same one as the potion, because this is a spell. Give me 1 second. I'll give you the actual language on it. So
How much healing was on the potion of greater healing?
4d8 plus 4.
Damn.
All right, so potion of heroism is very different. For 1 hour after drinking it, you gain 10 temporary hit points. For the same duration, you are under the effect of the bless spell. No concentration required. So 10 temporary hit points for an hour, and you have bless.
That's awesome. Bless is really good.
Dope.
Okay. Astrape just accepts the potions graciously and says, "Thank you. We'll put them to good use. I promise."
He smiles. I know you will. Now go. You have much better things to do than always worry about Valaki.
And I turn and leave.
All right. Let's call it here. Good session, yeah?
Yeah. Seems good.
Yeah, that was dope.
I feel like it's that Bahamut thing was pretty fucking cool. I'm kind of glad that was a thing because like
That was pretty crazy.
right had you guys all up on this goose chase and shit. Dark Lord, man, Dark Lord fucks with you guys.
Dude, when I heard that
everything
letter,
here,
I was like, "This is bullshit."
everything
Fucking
here
time.
is gonna fuck with you guys. Everything here is gonna
I
fuck with you guys.
fucking knew it, man.
It's
That's
so
why I was like, we could just get her like in public and look at her in the mirror and see if it fucking if she shows up.
yeah.
But I gotta bounce out.
For sure.
a
We,
little
we
bit
probably won't have to
already.
do it. We don't have to do a rock talk. We'll call it right now. And we can try to mess around with the video player and see what we can get in terms of getting like a better stream feed going.
Yeah, Zoom was
Sure.
really great quality, but it's expensive. It's like $15 a month subscription. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna try to find a free option to get some better video, just because the video in Roll20 is not very reliable. It's been freezing a lot, and it's just
Yeah.
want to have something better. I thought the quality of the video looked really good though in Zoom. So if we can
Did.
get something that's even somewhat comparable to that, it would be great.
Yeah. Should we do the closing segment here?
Yeah, sure. So no post game chat this time around. We'll just kind of close it out. But
If you guys are watching the VODs, appreciate it.
For sure.
Have a good night.
Thanks, y'all.
Peace.
goodbye.
Cheers.